Okay, here we are. Making this video was long overdue. But I kept pushing it for about today I decided I just made up my mind that well, I have to do it. All right. There's this argument about Africa being non-productive, that Africans are just consumers in this world ecosystem, and that we just consume. We don't bring anything to the world table. But that's a big lie. That's a big narrative. That's a very, very wrong narrative. That's a very wrong narrative. The West has they've designed a system that limits the positivity, the productivity, and the good vibes of Africans. It's like they've put us in this chokehold where they control what happens and what happens to you, and who calls what happens. It's like we're in a box. We've been boxed. During the transatlantic slave trade, during the colonial era, people were sold into slavery. Some were kidnapped and taken to Europe, the West, for slavery. That is cheap labor to work in factories, in fields, in production fields, that is farm fields, and all that, against their will. Now, later on, this guy came and said, okay, we've abolished slavery, don't need to do that again, it's barbaric, it's inhuman, and blah, 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 and blah. He said they've abolished slavery. Okay, now, fast forward to this era. They've impoverished Africa so much that these day Africans now beg to be put in that position of slavery. But the difference now is, instead of being bundled in chains and put into ships, you now beg to come. And how is it so? They've crippled your system. They're in charge of your government. They're in charge of who leads you. They're in charge of everything. So it's left for them to do whatever pleases them. And mind you, whatever the West does, they always make sure it's in favor of the West. It's in favor of Europe. It's in favor of America. So they manipulate elections, put in puppet leaders, make sure the economy doesn't grow beyond a certain limit. Make sure that people are held bound in a level of economic, they can't go beyond a certain limit. That is why the few billionaires or millionaires we have in Africa, millionaires in dollars, didn't get rich going by the system. They got rich through crooked means, that is beating the system, because the system is not designed for them to be rich. So at times when you blame these guys for being crooked, for being corrupt, but they wouldn't have gotten to this position if they didn't take this route, because the system was designed for them not to be rich past a certain limit. Everything is used against Africans. There is no odd that is in their favor. Be it the educational system, then you now come to religion. Why is it that 99.9% of schools from nursery, that is preschool, till secondary, from nursery till secondary, why are schools in Africa mandated to teach religious knowledge, be it Islamic studies or Christian religious studies? Why? I thought religion has to do with spirituality. So now when the spirituality now crawl into the walls of education, whereby they are now mandated that you must start teaching these children from kindergarten, or when they are still little, when they are infants, you start teaching them, spoon feeding them things that because you are programming them for the future. No, you are seeing spirituality. I don't see spirituality. I see indoctrination. You're programming these children from infancy. You're programming them how they need to see the world as they are growing up. So when they grow up, they'll be spoon-fed that certain people look like we are created in the image of God. Certain people we are chosen by God. Certain people see God, have dined with God. Certain people are so godlike, they are so godly, they are so perfect. So, and this child now grows up tomorrow, and you expect his psychic, his complexity not to be affected. He sees himself lower and sees the Westerners, the whites, as superior because they are the ones that have now narrated how God created the world. How, mind you, every continent, every culture has its roots. Why is this same thing not replicated in Asia? Why is it not replicated in China? Why is it not replicated in China? Why is it not replicated in Korea? That is because these people know Africans are gullible. You know, they bastardize our roots, our culture so much that whatever they give us, we ingest. Whatever information they bring to the table, we just ingest that. No questions asked. And why wouldn't you ask questions? Because of the leaders they've planted to make sure these things are not questioned. Most of your children don't even know the village head or the kings or the clan heads in your different villages, your different states, your different, but they know who was the head of certain place in Israel 5,000 years ago. And how is this possible? Because of indoctrination. Even you as a parent, you were indoctrinated. You're now doing the same thing to your children. Your children grows up and they are doing the same thing. They will do the same thing to their own children. It goes on and on and on. When will it ever stop? Will it ever stop? Because it was not designed to stop. And now tomorrow you are complaining that Africa is not moving forward. Africa is not climbing. How will it climb when we have this kind of system set? You've been made to believe that what your forefathers, what your 100 generations backwards believed or lived by, are considered pagan or archaic. But this one that you're introduced to is perfect. That is your route, your route to heaven. Can you see where the problem is? So Africa is designed that Africa will remain where it is, to remain poor, so that it will keep offering cheap labor to the West. You will now come to their place, beg for them to do those jobs that you, in your right senses, on a good day, you wouldn't have done. But now you're begging because you are left with no option. They've made you so poor that you just want to survive. You're not even concerned about living well. You just want to survive. When you now get there, you're sending crumbs back home to your extended family or your family, they'll think you're not living well. Have you thought about if you're surviving these hurdles, what about your children? And you're leaving the shores of Africa to Europe, and you think you've arrived in paradise. Mind you, what do they call it? Racism will stay till the end of the world. Your child, your son, your daughter might be the next person in years to come that will be gunned down by what they call them, either a white supremacist or a racial profiling police officer. What? A place that is not your home is not your home. If you like, live there 1,000 years. It's not your home. It's not your home. Even some black Americans that we actually they are called black Americans. When the time comes, they're still made to know that, man, you're different. You're different. So let's not keep fueling this, giving these people they impoverish Africa and they now turn around and blame Africa is good for nothing. But you guys orchestrated it. You wanted Africa to be this. And now Africa is this, a complaint. If you want to experiment on a drug, on a certain vaccine you're not sure about, you now come about this NGO, you want to go and vaccinate Africans for this. That is bullshit. You go to schools, go to preschools, nursery, secondary, and you keep injecting nonsense into children. And African parents are not seeing this. You are at the mercy of your giver. So it's not everything you collect. It's not everything you receive. You guys should stop receiving. You guys should fix this continent. Your child is in school. From preschool, he's being taught the history of people you don't even know. And tell you a gospel. They are telling them how Abraham lived, how Moses walked, how Joshua and the rest, how they lived their life. So now Africa is not divided between two religions, Islam or Christianity. And you guys you think all is well. You think all is well. The same time Abraham was serving the God he was serving, that same time your ancestors, your forefathers were also serving the God they were serving. So on what ground do you not come and tell me that particular God Abraham was serving at that time, giving sacrifices to, is the supreme God and is far above the God my ancestor was serving thousands of years ago? On what ground? That is what they call colonialism. When they colonize your body, they also colonize your mind. Make you feel, I come to you, destroy everything you've got, and then convince you that whatever I have is superior to whatever you've ever had. And you believe, you agree. That means you've not only been conquered physically, you've also been conquered mentally. You are now in a self-made box. You've imprisoned yourself. I only conquered you physically, I only conquered your body, but you've not helped me conquer your mind. And once the mind gets boxed, it can take even 1 million years for it to get liberated. It can take thousands, millions of years. Maybe your next 5,000 generations. So someone comes now convince you that what your ancestors were doing. And then when they ask, they say, hey, we are a human sacrifice and all that. The world, mankind has been practicing that art for generations. For generations. Everybody, both Africans, Europe, Arabs, we are all guilty of it. The world was evolving. It was just a matter of time before everybody drops that act. But now you come and you now try to paint a certain people that they are the only ones that are practicing it. Just because you want to manipulate them. You come to Africa, 90% of the children born are bearing Western names. And you ask them, they say it's Christian names. What is Christian name? In those days, people like Paul, Jacob, those names were native names. They have nothing to do with religion. So now you are not bearing those things and saying it's Christian names. Those people had those names before Christ, the era of Christ. So something happened, a revolution happened in a certain place. And they now want to use one brush and paint the whole world that this revolution has to do with the whole world. Then you guys are now imprisoned by it. Then your schools are mandated to, that is even the red flag. Schools are brainwashing children in the name of religion. How can you be from preschool, you're teaching children certain thing, and you, as a parent, you know things like red flag. All your child knows is history of Jacob, Moses, and all that. But your child doesn't know how your village came about. Your child doesn't know who was the village head of your village 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago. He doesn't even know their names. Some of you, your children are not interested. And you think all is well. And you want Africa to self-repair, while as you are part of the problem. you're part of the problem, because you've been designed to behave, to think, and to live the way you're living, but you don't know. You're a product of design, of systematic design. You're a zombie. You're a zombie, you're a bot. Because you're behaving like one. You've been programmed to behave the way. You're not a free-willed human being. If you don't see anything wrong with children in preschool being taught jargons, if schools are teaching religious things, what happens now? What is now the purpose of churches? And in churches, some churches have Sunday school and the rest. Have you asked yourself? It's not spirituality, it's indoctrination, and you guys are victim of it. So Africans, think inward. Nothing is going to change except you start thinking differently. You can't think like your parents and still believe there can be a change. You can't. Your parents thought like your grandparents. That is why things never change. And your grandparents thought like your great-grandparents. That's why things never change. You need to change your mindset, the way you see things, the way you think. Don't just be a surface thinker. Be a deep thinker. Think. Question things. When you're giving charitable acts, question it. Question what the motive behind it. Don't just accept as a thank you. No. Nothing comes free. Nothing. Forget all the definition. Nothing comes free. Everything has come with strings. I wouldn't want this video too long, so we'll continue this discussion next time. Okay? If you've not subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscription button and give us a thumbs up. You know, to help us push the videos around. Alright, ciao.